Good afternoon, everybody. I am delighted to be on, and who's coming on with me today is Rebecca, Rumi, and Ollie. So I look forward to hearing their story, their journey, and I've got questions that they're going to hopefully answer. A lot of questions have come through. So I'll just wait for Rebecca to come on. I know she's there because I've seen her on here earlier. Great, I'm still waiting. It seems such a longer time ago that I started talking to Rebecca. She came on IGTV during lockdown. Well, actually, she came on, and then Ollie, her husband, came on, and they talked very sort of honestly about their stories, and a lot of people were asking questions as a result. So I'm looking forward to seeing her now, okay? Oh, here she is. She'll be on any minute. I was a bit panicked because I'm on Zita West Clinic tonight. I don't usually do this, so I'm just going to wait for her to join. Hopefully any minute now. Great. Rebecca!
Yay!
How are you?
Hello. We're well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Can you move a little bit closer? I see that lovely Christmas tree in the in the middle.
Come in close, and we've got the best Christmas present. Let's bring him up. He's asleep.
Oh,
this is Rumi.
This is a real first for us at the clinic, having being able to see the baby virtually as opposed to coming in. Oh, how lovely!
His first Instagram live.
First, and I don't think it will be the last, Ollie.
I know.
Poor child. He's like, all these photos. Stop it.
But you're looking very glamorous, Rebecca. Look,
oh,
for a new mum, you sort of got the makeup on, the hair done.
Well, I don't really get up and do anything till about midday. So, so we're living a cosmic, like, nocturnal life, and thank God for makeup.
Oh no, it's fantastic. So I was just saying to people listening that you first came on, didn't you, during lockdown? I can't remember how long ago that was. How many weeks pregnant were you?
Yeah, was I like just about to go into the second trimester, probably? Yeah, just before summer.
And then Ollie came on separately, and we had such good feedback about that. And you're sort of like talking about coping, etc. So it was really sort of powerful. But listen, how does it feel at the sort of end of your journey now to have a baby?
The beginning of another journey, I guess.
Yeah. It never ends, Ollie. Let me tell you that. I've got a 35 and a 32-year-old, and it still goes on.
We just, I just can't believe it. You were at work yesterday, and I took him for. I literally went round the corner, and he was in the buggy, and I just thought, oh my God, I'm a mum. Like, and I felt really emotional about it, because it's just, it's just been such a long journey and a real sort of dream come true. And I think it's just such a crazy time with the lockdown and him not being able to meet family and us not being able to.
So he hasn't even met his grandparents?
No, and he's got like 4 sets of grandparents, and so there's a large family waiting to see him. And he met my mum, so he's met Nanny already, which is so lovely, because she was able to get a test, which was brilliant.
Fantastic.
But
the rest,
we don't know. And there's so much love waiting for him.
And what about when you had your baby? You obviously had a cesarean section because you sort of posted it all up. But did you was Ollie allowed to go in with you, or were you on your own?
Well, it was a long old story which I haven't really posted yet, and we obviously documented lots of footage, and we're gonna share it at some point. But
you don't have to say today if you don't want to. It's fine.
Yeah, I found it quite difficult to sort of vocalise and quite traumatic, and we had.
Was it an emergency section?
Yeah, emergency section. So my waters broke, and from the day that I went into triage after that. Like, Ollie wasn't allowed in from that moment, and it was really difficult sort of processing a lot of information and panic and changes of plans by myself.
Yes.
And to that end, we went through like a lot of extremes of emotions and decision making, and you were allowed in the next, that
That
evening.
evening for a little bit, then I went home and you were...
It was like 4 days, and you
Yes.
were allowed in and out. And the staff at Imperial Maternity at Queen Charlotte's were brilliant.
Amazing.
Yes, yeah.
Really
Yeah,
great.
really good.
Because they all understand, don't they? So how long had you been trying for before you got Rumi?
So we were married in 2014, and
It was about 5.5 years.
yeah, and we sort of naively were like saying, oh well, we won't try straight away, but
we just thought it would happen.
Yeah.
Like, when we were ready, we thought the following month it would happen, and then we planned. Okay, well, if you do it that month, and then 9 months later he'll be born or she'll be born, and then
Yeah.
5 years later.
and here we are.
And you had a brief separation, didn't you? Not separate from one another, but you worked overseas, Ollie, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you said that it did come between the two of you. I know you said that, so
Yeah.
it's okay to say.
Yeah.
So what do you think the hardest part of your journey was for people viewing now that have been trying a similar amount of time or have gone through 1 or 2 failed cycles?
I think keeping the faith and also like just the shame of like blaming yourself and us both kind of like wanting to sabotage things because we weren't able to get what we wanted.
Yeah, it's almost find an excuse for, oh, because of this, that's why it didn't happen. You know.
Yeah.
I guess it's easy for us to sit here and say, oh, stay positive, because obviously.
Well, because you know what you went through, and the thing
Yeah.
is, as a couple, you're dealing with uncertainty, so you didn't know this was going to be the final part, did you?
No, even to the point of like, you know, even now you sort of don't believe it, and I'm sure any new parent feels like that regardless of the journey. But like I think being a part in the life choices that we made, you know, it's like we had to sort of distance ourselves from each other and the situation and put other excuses like,
Wow.
we haven't been together because of work, so maybe that's why it's not working. But
at what point did you decide we need help, we need to go and look, we've had the sex, we've done the nutrition, we've done everything, we need now to get help? You know, what was your journey from getting help to where you ended up with now?
I think it was 2017.
It was a few years, yeah, and we sort of went to, you know, we spoke to lots of clinics, went to the NHS, and we sort of went down the road multiple times in you know, different ways, different avenues, and it didn't ever quite click, did it?
No, and we sort of were very close to starting the cycle in the summer of 2017,
yeah.
And for like many reasons of like my grandfather passed away, and also just didn't feel right. We felt quite pressured to do it in a certain way.
Something just didn't feel quite right.
It didn't feel right, and I'd had like quite an intrusive it was a high cozy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And where they went through the tubes and everything, and it just, I don't know, like again, just felt really traumatic, and we just didn't feel like, we felt a bit railroaded into doing something. And I think we wanted to take some control and take a bit of time.
Yeah, I think because we're quite, especially you, quite a holistic person. Right? You want to look at, rather than just going in straight with a full, you know, full-blown medicalized solution, trying to see what the other options are.
And who supported you during that time of not quite knowing where to go and what to do? Was it friends that were telling you what to do, family, or Dr. Google?
I think we were quite private in some ways, because it was really difficult to vocalize what was happening, and for it to be, the more it was, sorry, there's somebody at the door. I'm gonna have to get
Amazon.
I'll carry on. I guess a part of it was a bit of embarrassment as well at the time, just because not knowing how to handle it or deal with it. And you know, I guess we didn't have many of our close friends or family that had been through infertility, so not really knowing, you know, which way do you turn and how to deal with it. So sort of closing up a little bit. And obviously that then had an impact on, you know, we were sort of closing off from each other, I think, at times.
Yeah, I think that happens for a lot of couples, you know, especially when you've been doing this for a few years, you know, it is hard. You do shut off. And I know that you said in the last Instagram we did that you didn't know whether you'd get through it all together.
Yeah. I mean, we, you know, being completely open and honest, I think both of us have explored psychotherapy, you know, speaking to somebody professionally, and I think that's one of the best things for me personally, that's one of the best things I ever did. I think that helped. You're never going to find a solution, but you can find coping mechanisms, I guess.
No, I agree. I've got some questions here I have to ask you that have come through, or else I'll be in trouble. Okay, was this your first round of IVF?
So this was our
like
first...
Mr. and Mrs. this, isn't it?
and also my brain is so slow. I'm like, August last year was our first round of IVF. We tried other things, including Clomid before. Hey, Rumi, it's all about you.
Hello, Rumi.
And so that was August last year, and we were really fortunate to have, obviously with you guys, to get 5 blastocysts, wasn't it? Which was brilliant.
Yeah.
So there's 4 more in the freezer. Merry Christmas. and but I overstimulated, so we weren't able to have the option of the fresh transfer, which kind of felt really disappointing at the time.
At the time, I think in hindsight, it was probably good that it then nudge things on a few months.
Yeah, and just giving my body that time to heal, and then like giving us time to process the whole cycle of I mean, it's a lot, isn't it, to deal with?
God, it's an awful lot to deal with. It's an awful lot to deal with. But what I loved about the two of you, and I followed you on my Instagram, and I met you though, Rebecca, didn't I?
Yes.
In the waiting room. Yeah, that's right. A while ago. But I love the way you disco danced through the whole cycle virtually, and you did it very tongue in cheek. But it was just very light and very funny. Obviously, it helped you.
Massively helped, and also like dressing up to come into the clinic every day.
Yes.
I don't know. It just made it like we made these kind of rituals, which helped.
Made it a positive experience, which it should be.
Yeah, and we were making a baby, and we were like, making a baby should be fun. So we're going to make a baby in our way, and it's still going to be fun. And the celebration of science was really important, because, we were just really grateful to be in that position, to be able to try and to be at your clinic and embraced by the brilliant people there. And
what did you think made a difference at the clinic?
I think just the holistic approach massively makes a difference. Like the way that you're treated in a kind of individual way, in the sense that, your protocol is your protocol. It's not
one size fits
all. Not one size fits all. And I felt very reassured by that. And also like the acupuncture, the nutrition side of it, that was really helpful.
Going to the clinic was always just felt calm, which, you can be quite anxious about the whole experience, I guess.
Yes.
Work and, whenever you get, I remember, when we went for every scan, it was, are things progressing, and, how many follicles, all these sorts of things, worrying about all of that. But when you walk in and everyone the atmosphere just helps you, calms your nerves, and that side of things, I think helps.
And I think it's quite nice that it's a house, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like a clinic. It feels like going into
someone's home.
Yes,
so welcoming. And I think as well, like there's so much about this journey for anyone, whether there's fertility challenges or not, that's totally out of control, and you might meet those challenges later on during birth or being a parent, but the fact with the clinic, it felt like there were elements of it that we could control, in the sense of like, let's have that acupuncture session, that's going to really help. Your meditation CDs were brilliant, and although we just kept falling asleep, but they were really good for relaxation, and I think also learning about the supplements, and that definitely had a long-term impact, especially in terms of recovery from my emergency section. I think those supplements really have helped and continue to help massively.
But how did the egg collection and the transfer go? Because that was done in Care, wasn't it? So you were well looked after there as well.
At Care Fertility, they were brilliant. Fab. So we had Dr. Simone did the egg collection.
Yeah, he's lovely, Simone.
He was fantastic. I had the best sleep of my life for like half an hour,
And then you had your Mars bar, I seem to remember. Was it a Snicker?
Yeah, well, I had quite low blood pressure, and I just completely like lost it afterwards when they came round.
But they were great. Everyone was really, because I was sitting there going, "Oh my god, she's gonna die," and I was kind of relax, it's fine, and you know.
All I needed was Snickers
And a bit of a drip.
The drip.
Yeah.
And then it was fine. And then just to hear the numbers as well, like the next 5 days, it's so scary because they go from, you know, we had quite a large number of follicles, and then they just plummet quite quickly, and you sort of panic, and then you read other people's stories, and you realise like it really is that one.
Yeah, there are so many hurdles to sort of get to the end, aren't there? A hell of a lot every day, up and down, up and down, up and down. Did you, in terms of another question here, did you have any problems with explained infertility, or couldn't you conceive naturally? You don't have to answer any of these if you don't want to. These are coming from other women.
It's still unexplained infertility. I mean, there's been some. I remember Dr. George, the brilliant Dr. George, saying to me, "It's all about troubleshooting. You're not going to know." And the counsellor actually that we
Jane,
saw, she was wonderful.
Brilliant.
That every step of the way, including the pregnancy, you know, post birth, come closer, and it's all about learning the full picture.
Yes.
And in the 3rd trimester, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, and there is type 2 in my family. And, you know, it raised questions in my mind that perhaps there's a blood sugar problem, and that couldn't have been detected before pregnancy in the way it was with the gestational diabetes. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up as an excuse, but there's nothing that they found that was, you know, a tangible reason for why we weren't able to conceive naturally. But yeah, you
might go on to conceive naturally. That happens quite a lot as well. Who knows?
And the 4, we don't want to waste the 4 in the freezer. They're all there ready.
Another question that's come through: what are your tips for couples to support each other through the process? Because that is hard. You know, very often there's a blame game that goes on. A woman wants to keep talking about it and researching. A man wants to fix it so he feels inadequate. What do you think your sort of touch points were when you were going through this journey before you started IVF?
I don't think, from a man's point of view, you're absolutely right. You're always wanting to fix it. You want to fix everything. Yeah. But you can't. So I think just being patient, I guess, you know, if you ever say things that, you know, if you have an argument or whatever, I think we learn, not early on, but we've learned to, if we have an argument, just start laughing at some point. I've learned that at least anyway. And that sort of
really
diffuses the whole
irritating
thing most of the time. But yeah, I guess you've got to just talk, I think. Like,
but some couples find it hard to talk, don't they?
Yeah.
There's an elephant in the room when it comes to IVF or doing another cycle or financial or money or whatever. So it is hard. So I think you being patient is good. Listen to that.
I think as well, like, to try and do other things that are outside of the protocol and the plan. And
but you're quite creative though, Rebecca, aren't you? You know, you sort of like do a lot of creating, so you've got a good distraction to do. And I think what's so hard for so many women, their lives are on hold, especially around IVF, and
you feel like you're in limbo.
And you lose your fertility on every level. You're just focused on this whole thing, which is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's to try and gather momentum in other ways, and also for your relationship to like heal and do nice things. And I think with you working overseas, it kind of reignited like this sense of, we weren't seeing each other for a little while, and then we were like, we're really excited to see each other. And it didn't become about every single month looking to see if we'd got pregnant or not, because we weren't together all the time. A little bit.
Yeah. And that makes it. Listen to his lungs. Is it a feed?
Together.
Somebody else has asked here.
He's a milk machine.
Is he a milk machine? Okay, I won't keep you long. Advice on where and how you did your research. How did you find a clinic? How did you know where to go?
So we explored another clinic on recommendation from a friend, and then a really good friend of ours, Adele Silver, she recommended you guys, and we talked a lot about you, and another friend of yours recommended the clinic. So I went along to an open evening in April last year.
Oh, right.
So, and then it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
So then we had the consultation with Dr. George.
Yeah.
And then we started the cycle in August. And then I'll just. It's all right. It's fine. And then here we are with this.
How did you cope with pregnancy when you did the pregnancy test and then you were first pregnant? Because again, a lot of women at the clinic know everything about fertility, and then they're so excited when they see the positive pregnancy test. Then 5 minutes later, they're in a total and utter panic.
Yeah. It's really scary because you're so used to things going not being real and your dream not happening. So we had to move, didn't we? Move house.
About 2 weeks later,
so we had like a big distraction there, and obviously we had the transfer 2 days. So Dr. George did the transfer. It was great, and that was 2 days before lockdown.
Yeah.
So I just kept thinking, my God, imagine if it had been 2 days later, like this one, it would be a whole different situation. So, and my heart goes out to anybody that was in that situation where they were booked for treatment or
cancelled.
Yeah, and I mean, know, it's affected treatment massively, hasn't it? And affected so many parents. But sorry, what was the question?
Just about being pregnant. Did you manage through pregnancy?
Yeah. So I just, again, my creative head was just like astounded by the transformation, what my body was doing. The clinic, obviously, there was quite a lot of things that I had to take, like progesterone and estrogen. Yes. I think somebody asked a question about, because you come off that after the 12 weeks.
Yes.
And someone was asking, how did you feel about that? And I felt quite nervous because that's obviously going into the third trimester, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going down a hill with like, on a bike with no hands and no brakes. Like there's nothing here to
because a lot of women they when they've sort of done their 7 and 9 week scan, you feel like you're on your own, and it's quite a scary place to be when you've had a lot of support around you.
Yeah, massively. And then obviously we then transitioned into the NHS system, so it was really like strange leaving the clinic, so you'd had all of this support from you guys, and although you were still really present in all of it, but I was really excited to go to the hospital and get my notes. But then there was this kind of doom and gloom of the grim reality that we were in a pandemic. He couldn't come for scans, which I totally understood, but I found it really frustrating when there were, people able to eat out and
you go to pubs and things. You can't go for scans.
But I understand. Yeah, it was really, really hard because that's time we'll never get back.
Yes, I know.
And I was given lots of overwhelming information, especially with the diagnosis of gestational diabetes. Yes. And I was alone, and that was really hard. And I can't imagine what it must have been like for any woman receiving, really awful news. And we had a bit of a scare at one point, didn't we? And you weren't. He was in the car park, and they couldn't find the heartbeat.
Oh my God.
But it's definitely there.
It is. I love the name as well. Is he named after the philosopher?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm just gonna...
You need to feed Rebecca.
I think, he, so when we got married at our wedding, we had, because I'm Iranian, my father's Iranian. Yeah. So he did a Rumi reading for us in Farsi. To be honest, it's a name we've always liked. So, but we didn't know what we were having. So we have got a girl. We had names for years for both boy and girl, but we kept them.
Oh, fantastic! No, I think it's lovely, and I love some of his quotes.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm going to let you go and go off and feed and get into your evening.
She's back now.
We're
back.
We're on, and we're having his fifth lunch.
So how have you managed though with the baby? I mean, it's quite overwhelming, isn't it, bringing a new baby home?
Well, yeah, we were in hospital for 5 days, and although I ended up with having a paralysed bowel, so...
Oh my God.
Sorry. I was nil by mouth for a couple of days, and it delayed my milk, and I was really unwell, and I'd lost
2 litres of blood.
Yeah, I'd not been well at all. So
Yeah.
the support we received in the hospital, it was a bonus in a way, because we had lots of like breastfeeding support,
Wash, you know,
how to bath him,
changing
Yeah.
everything, didn't we?
and I kind of felt like if we, although it wasn't pleasant to be in that situation, coming home that little bit later was nice, because
Yes, yeah.
I just felt a bit more confident.
And it's obviously you managed to feed, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I had to have help. I had to combination feed for a bit because my milk was late due to, you know, being nil by mouth and the madness of
Blood loss and things.
And
yeah.
you know what, like that was not in my plan, but it was fine, and it was,
I think it helped
massively.
That I don't know, I can't remember what day it was, day 3 or 2 or 3 or something like that. It just helped. He then had a good sleep, which then enabled you to have a good sleep, which then helped you
relax.
Yeah, which is really important. So I'm going to put you on the spot now. What sort of 3 tips would you give to any couple or any woman watching this?
I think stick together in any way that you can, like even if it's just doing something completely off the wall, outside the box from the fertility stuff, like just be together, force yourselves to be together to do something.
And communicate as well. I know it's so hard, because there's times where, and you know, as a man you always want to be, you know, have a brave face on, but you start talking about it together and you start crying. But that's okay. You know, you have to communicate, otherwise it drives a wedge between you.
I think that's important together. And equally, I guess number 3, if you can't find the words, don't feel you have to manage other people's feelings, you know, your family and your friends, because they as much as they can want to understand and support you, and we were really lucky with that, but we weren't able to vocalize how we were feeling or the impact of any of it, in terms of the impact it had on us. We weren't able to kind of articulate that, and I think that was okay, because they were there.
Yes, yeah. No, fantastic.
And I guess we've always tried to look at it as, it's not the having a baby is not gonna, what's the word I'm trying to say? It's not the end goal for us. It's just, that's a bonus. Like this, just the 2 of us is great.
Yeah.
And adding him is a bonus. It's not that we needed him to make this great. He's not necessarily the glue that keeps it all together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, did you hear him? He just did a massive gassy boy. And I think as well that I think you become a different person because of it. And that can be really sad, but it can also be that there's a sense of growth. It's all about the growth, isn't it?
But it is interesting, because like the women I see, and we see at the clinic, when they come back with their babies, they look like different people. You know, they sort of like a lighter, you know. Do you still remember how desperate all was, or is that all behind you now?
Yeah, I can feel that. I remember how it was like frantic, and the pace of our lives were it was like we were just running around sticking plasters on everything to just try and make everything go by quicker so that we could get to the next bit. And I think this feels very, I was with him this morning and I was thinking, God, I just feel so present. I mean, I'm probably just really tired. But you do feel much more kind of in the moment. And I guess as well, it's horrible being in lockdown. It's horrible we're in a pandemic, but there is this sense of universal, like everything slowing down, which I don't think's been a bad thing for us.
Yeah, but you must feel like you're in a little bubble anyway, just the 2 of you.
In a cocoon, and we are. We're not seeing anybody till for Christmas, sadly. But we're here, just the 3 of us and the cat.
I've seen lots of photos of the cat. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Oh, look at him. Look at little Roomy. Oh, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But thanks. And it's great sort of following what you're doing on Instagram. I look forward to more antics.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you for everything.
Everyone at Zita West, it's just...
Oh, no, they're a great team. They really are.
We'll be back soon.
Oh, right. Brilliant.
As soon as we
Brilliant.
Oh, wait a little while yet.
Okay, well, the best of luck, and thank you so much for doing this for us.
And thanks
Okay,
to
take
all
care.
the people that have connected as well, because there's been some really lovely messages and gifts, and we've been overwhelmed by that support. And lots of women contacting me saying that they followed the story and they've got in touch with you, and that's just the most joyful thing for us to be able to like spread that joy.
You did, and it was interesting when Ollie did his part, when he came on. It was very powerful, and a lot of women got in contact as a result of that, because I think sometimes the communication is hard between a couple, and there's a lot of things you want to say, but you worry it's going to end up in a row or an argument or whatever. So I think it was good, really good.
Definitely keep talking about it, everyone. It's really important. Thanks,
Okay.
Zita.
Thank you so much. Have a
Season's
lovely
greetings.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we look forward to meeting this little one next year, hopefully.
Yay, definitely.
Okay, take care.
See you
Bye
later.
bye.
Take care.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, everybody, as well. Thank you for watching today, and I hope this has helped. And I will be back on Monday, doing a visualization, talking about hug, taking your questions and answers. So I look forward to seeing you then. Okay, bye-bye.